Hi, everyone. It's Drake, also known as the Lion Knight, and we're here for our first episode of Dice Trays Action. And I'm super excited, and I hope all of you are too. Don't all go crazy at once. We gotta try and keep a reasonable pace here. Before we get into it and introduce everyone, I want to take a couple seconds just to say thanks and shout out Lost Haven Art for our amazing logo and the assets for our overlay. You can find them over on Twitter at Lost Haven Art. It's pretty easy. And I also wanted to give a quick shout out to Ampersand Productions, which is a wonderful group that you can find over on Twitter at Ampersand D20. They deal with mostly animation. You can also find their weekly show, Homebrew Havoc, over on Twitch, which is an actual play stream that focuses on community collaboration. It combines the wonderful creations of clever creators into one large open world. Tune in every Thursday to see how Callum, Shiv, Tony, Ailey, and Game Master Paul survive the world of Antirso. All right, everyone. So now you can get hyped and excited if you want.
Woo!
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around and we're gonna introduce ourselves, and then we will get into this first episode of DTA. The Eye. Why don't we start with you?
I am the Eye. I am the one who plays this thing that we're playing, as we are all players in the grand scheme of things. That is all.
It's very deep. Who are you playing today?
I am playing Kunnskap Soka, or Kunnskap, for those who do not wish to pronounce the entire thing.
What's their class and race?
We'll never tell.
I will never tell.
Well,
We'll figure it out ourselves.
Yes.
All right, Jen, you're up.
Hi, you guys hear me well enough?
Yeah.
I'm Jen. I play Aksha, a kobold sorcerer.
Dope. Joe?
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm playing Tobi. He is a polar Ursine monk.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Kay. I'm going to be playing Gearna, who is an arcano-mechanical Rude Knight.
And the Jeff.
Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm playing Brori, the Lavion inventor.
Awesome. Okay, so let's get to it. Welcome to Orzadama, melting pot of the known world. The year is 962 PA, or post-ascension. It is the 18th of Green Spring, the second year in what has come to be known as the Age of Dread. Hailed as the birthplace of creation by many, it is a land that proudly wears its history. In the frozen northeast, the lands of Tvalvorten and Zimbal's Wake are ruled and maintained by the northern tribes. To the northwest, the Cursian Dominion, a plateaued land which melds magic and mechanics into what some would call a marvel of the modern day, protected from the frost by a series of arcano-mechanical generators put in place by the country's founder, Cursia I. Beneath them, a canyon, flanked by the lowest part of the multi-tiered Cursian plateaus, and a range of mountains that serve as a division between the northern lands and Surzayalthur, the great forest kingdom of the elves. Once, centuries ago, mostly flatlands, until an impossibly large and lush forest rose almost overnight, becoming a bastion to beings of the Fae, who had lost their homes in an event they call Awarthod, which saw the material plane's connections to the wilds of the Fae severed rather abruptly, though no one seems to know why. This land has become a powerful but isolated land, welcoming only to those who share their heritage. To the east lies Polishrock, the remnants of a dwarven empire that once spanned almost the entirety of Orzadama. Now, a country in three distinct parts: the Stonebeard mountain range, where the most traditional of dwarves cling to a history they pray will return to them. What some would call blind traditionalist masters hiding in cavernous cities built into their mountains, worshipping at a throne whose value has been all but forgotten. Beyond them, the Ebony Isles. Half a day's sail from the mainland are a series of islands surrounding a volcano, with deep-reaching mines that have been a large source of power and value for the dwarves for many years. Inland of the Stonebeard Mountains is the rest of Palushraq, forgotten at large by the ruling class, left to their own devices as long as taxes and dues are paid and protected. This has led to mass corruption and unrest through the region. To the west lie swamp and deadlands, once serving as a home for a nightmare no one can truly remember, but now one of the lands included in what has come to be known as the Steel Marches, extending from these swamplands south into the desert sea of shattered crystal, the Iron Mountains, and most recently, Alarad Haba. What was once the holy and isolated plains of the Lavion is now another land ruled by the powerful military minds of the Sharpened Steel, a large organization of orcs who have taken up their swords against the gods themselves, making a clear declaration that the people cannot be free as long as they rely on the fickle desires of beings who see them as little more than pawns. As a result, the Lavion are now a people without a home, forced from the only lands they ever knew, and discarded out into the free but wild lands before them, with cultures strange and people unaware of their existence. Separating the northern and southern halves of the continent is a large crevice, a wound stabbed into the earth itself, 300 miles long. Commonly referred to as the Scar, the legend goes that the fall of the united Palushraq Empire began with the literal fall of the dwarven god Orzik, and that this is his resting place. Some hold this place sacred, while others consider the story a myth. Regardless of the truth behind this mark, it is a site clearly not of natural creation. Keeping an uneasy peace between the major powers of Orzadama are the Doorwind Guilds, a series of interconnected guilds founded and managed by a group of halfling merchants known as the Doorwind Farah Lords. These guilds maintain open lines of trade throughout the continent and beyond, holding the peace of the realm as a priority in order to maintain profit and success. But for tonight, we turn our attention south of the Scar, to the holy kingdom of faith and arcane wisdom, Lysantis. Known for its world-renowned colleges and work in the use of magic, much of the region is funded by the Silvercrest, a religious organization devoted to Sapientism, an ethos based on holy text written by the astral Dinvella Surdrot, who they believed was a saint sent to them by the god Balas, and who is often referred to as the Silver Soul. Deep within their borders, we look to Southreach, the Silver City by the Sea, a major port city of bustling trade, not to mention home of one of the most accredited arcane colleges in Lysantis, the Azuria, as well as the headquarters of the Silvercrest, an impossibly giant church known as the Dominestica. Templars roam the streets, some accompanied by hounds bred with the ability to smell and track magic. A careful eye kept on the use and potential abuse of magic through the region. As long as one is a member of the colleges, or has a license to practice and does so sensibly, there is nothing to fear from the Silver Gauntlet, for they only seek those hedge mages who practice wild and uncontrolled arts, unaware of the power they wield and irresponsible in how they do so. Now, we first turn our attention to Gearna, Brori, and Kunnskap. The three of you have managed to come together and pay your way to the city of Southreach for relatively cheap, aboard the back of a carriage. Nothing fancy. There's no covering, and surrounding you are all sorts of goods that will almost certainly be traded and sold once you arrive. Eventually, you reach the walls, large, dominating the sky above you. It only takes a couple of moments of conversation between the gentleman leading your cart and the two blue dragonborn guards at the gate before you are approached by one of the two dragonborn. They look the three of you over and extend a hand, clearly expecting some form of identification from each of you.
I'm going to show them the compass for the guild.
Sure. What does that look like?
It's a golden compass with kind of looks like a pocket watch with a compass on the front. The front lid.
The dragonborn pauses for a moment and then reaches up and sort of picks the compass up in his clawed fingers and looks it over, top and bottom. And they are with you, he says,
Yes.
pointing to the other two. Enjoy your stay,
Thank
he
you.
says as he steps away and nods to the other guard, who pulls at a rope, and you hear the faint sound of a bell, and then a cranking as the gate begins to rise, and you begin to enter. One moment. As I move you to the appropriate place.
Can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are welcome to take this opportunity to play as you would like.
So, Gearna is gonna tilt her head slightly as you hold up the compass, and before you put it away, she's going to ask, "May I see that?"
Oh, sure. He hands it to her.
And she looks it over very carefully. Goes, "Huh? The golden compass is still a thing then?"
Yes, I think they changed it to the guild compass at some point in the last 100 so years.
This is good.
What is it for?
Just identification to show I'm a member of the guild.
It does much more than that. It's a very special compass.
You have to carry this with you the whole time? Why not just a badge?
I mean, it's essentially a badge.
See, this is what happens when communities become too big. Can't even recognize who are your friends.
I mean, this is easier, so.
Many minds create progress.
So, Tobi, your travel to arrive here has been quite a long one, fraught with much failure and disappointment. But it hasn't deterred you from achieving your goal. Initially having stopped in Dine Saint-Vi, you were effectively laughed out of the Cabalion when you attempted to get your answers. And it was only upon your travels that you lucked into meeting with a group of traveling adventurers who suggested to you that perhaps you would have better luck here in Southreach, with no promise of it being easy, but at least a more attainable goal, and if nothing else, being a city set at a harbor by the sea, there's a better chance that someone may know what you are looking for. You arrived here only a few hours ago, and have yet to really explore too much. Though, thus far what you've seen has not left you impressed. Besides, of course, the incredibly impossibly large building that seems to dominate every structure in this city, visible from the moment you step through those gates. This ornate, stained glass windowed monstrosity of a construction. For now, you roam the streets. Is there anything in particular you'd be looking for?
Tobi is hungry. Tobi has been walking for a very long time and would like to venture down toward the docks to see if maybe he can barter with some fishermen or do some fishing on his own. Get some lunch.
This is a good idea. And so you begin to make your way down towards the Silver Docks. Aksha. Much like with our bear friend here, it has not been very long since you have arrived here in Southreach. Hoping to meet with, or at least gain some kind of an audience, with a man you know was a close friend of your former master. A gentleman by the name of Bryn Talrin. You don't know very much about him besides the name, although you do know that he is supposedly a very influential figure. When you arrived, you initially attempted to come through from the North Gate, or the Amber Gate, but unfortunately were turned away and laughed at for your attempts to enter this place that is incredibly selective. The name caught you at least enough information to tell you that Mr. Talrin is not around currently, off on some sort of business, though they wouldn't tell you what or where. And so, you find yourself roaming the streets, planning your next move. Is there anything in particular that Aksha would be looking for or considering?
So he's not in the city?
It does not seem like he's currently in the city. They more or less confirmed for you that he does live here, but is not currently around.
And they wouldn't let Aksha in?
They would not let Aksha in.
Oh,
Rude.
why is this? Why? Aksha's smart. Aksha deserves to be in here. No, how am I gonna get in?
They explained to you that you are welcome to enter the city through any other gate, but here,
Just not here?
not here.
Oh. Well, then Aksha will go find other gates.
It's a good idea. So, Aksha, you begin to more or less walk your way around the city walls, which is not an exactly pleasant thing, but after a while, you find yourself stumbling across a cart. Contained within, you see 3 figures.
So tired. Why is it such a long walk? Oh,
So,
is this how I get in?
3 figures. Would you guys like to describe yourselves?
Okay. Before you see a fairly tall Lavion, a cat person, large trench coat, pair of goggles on the top of his head. Yeah.
Cat person.
Next to them is a what looks to be a odd set of armor. You can only see the top though because there's a cloak covering the bottom half. Everything from the neck down is cloaked, but the top seems like a very ornate helm with rotating gears in the back.
Oh, so shiny.
And standing behind them is a nondescript individual with a robe covering most, if not all, of their features. The only feature that really stands out is a bone mask with horns and two glowing red eyes coming from behind the mask.
Oh.
You see them finish speaking with one of the two dragonborn guards at the gates, and then see the gate begin to rise, and the cart begins to enter.
I'm just gonna tag along. Hey, how's it going?
Looks down.
Hi, mighty tall people.
Hello there.
Hello.
Sure.
Kunnskap is currently, as soon as they get past the gate, are going up to the other side of the wall and just running their fingers along the stone as if trying to find something.
Sure.
Can I roll a perception check?
Absolutely, you can. So you're hopping off the cart.
Yes.
Awesome.
I'm also getting off the cart because at this point we're here.
Sure, yeah.
I'm just staying off the cart from when we were showing our when we were being let in.
So what are you looking for?
Specifically, signs of my fellow travelers.
Ah. So you hop down off the cart and approach the closest part of the city wall, running your hand along the stone, which seems very well kept and cared for. You do not see any markings, etchings, or otherwise that would lead you to believe those of your people had been here, or at least in this particular space, before.
After a few minutes of searching, Kunnskap skitters almost back to the group, trying to keep themselves between the other two.
As you do, the group of you notice that the streets are incredibly busy, as they generally seem to be in any city of this size. People walking to and fro, guardsmen, all of whom seem to be Templars, covering the streets, eyes scanning carefully for anything of interest or intrigue. Among the group of people, you hear, and Tobi, you are close enough to hear this as well, the sobbing sounds of a woman. At first, it doesn't seem clear where these are coming from. Just somewhere off in the crowd. But as people pass by and begin to part, you notice a rather dirty, disheveled-looking halfling woman just sort of stumbling from one person to the next. It's hard at first to make out what she's saying behind all of the casual conversation, but as people move on, you can hear her calling out, "Please, my son, have you seen my son?" And thrusting towards anyone willing to look in her direction, a scroll of sorts. And then after a moment, you hear a scream from further down the street. And someone begins to run, slamming into someone beside them who falls over, looking bewildered. And slowly, the screams begin to multiply, ringing out more and more, and people begin to flee. As you look in the direction that the people are fleeing from, you see these two strange creatures, almost humanoid, but something seems wrong with them. While their body is clearly that of some kind of humanoid race or species, there are distinctly strange features about them. They have these long, elongated faces with mouths that seem almost cut into a permanent frown. And as they open their mouths, their lip sort of falls forward instead of opening widely, revealing thin but razor sharp teeth. The more you look at them, the more they look a bit like fish. And why did that not work? There we go. All right. I was wondering why that didn't work at first. And as you ponder them, they begin to almost crawl closer, scraping themselves ahead on all fours, eyes darting from one person to the next. And I am going to ask everyone to roll initiative, and we're going to get right into the thick of it.
I can't take one step into a city without having to fight some fish.
No, of course not. Come on. Isn't that what
Dagon.
cities are for? Cities are for fighting fish.
Dagon would be proud.
Okay, let me know when everyone's done rolling.
Yep, all set.
Okay.
All set.
25 to 20. Anyone? Cool. 19 to 15.
19.
16.
Ooh, nice. 15 to 10.
13.
What was it?
13.
13. Did you say something, Kunnskap?
10.
Uh, 9 to 5.
Rolled 8.
Nice. Okay, so Brori, you're up first. Whatever it is you decide you'd like to do. People
You said-
are. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no. Set the scene. Go.
People are darting by, screaming wildly, as these two creatures begin to prowl further forward, rushing past you, and quickly the street begins to empty.
All right. He's gonna stand in front of the cart and horses. He's gonna pull out his baton, and then, unless it looks like anyone's trying to defend them or anything.
Doesn't look like anyone's trying to defend them. Everyone seems solidly in favor of running, with the sole exception of the poor halfling woman who seems to sort of be stumbling through the group, kind of almost exhaustedly jabbing this scroll at people, and eventually noticing these two creatures and sort of freezing in terror.
Fish hater
is-
kids.
Is the one closest to us closest to her?
Give me a moment, I'll put her on the map. Let's say this is her. For now.
A little bit closer to them and throw my baton at this one.
Sure. You want to describe how that looks?
It's a metal baton, black, and at the very end it has 4 blue strips of metal.
Cool. All right, yeah, go ahead.
Strong
Yo.
start.
First roll of the game.
Good way to start.
Get out of the way.
Sure. So, and it returns to you after, right?
Yep.
Awesome.
Turns
So,
right back to my hand.
Tobi, Aksha, what the two of you see, I mean, you all see it, but the rest of you have seen this before. This large lion-like gentleman sort of rushes forward and throws out this metallic stick, which seems to tumble through the air and surge with what looks like a little bit of electricity before, bam, slamming into the side of the wall of the building, taking off a small chip of brick, and then flying back into his hand. The creature nearby looks over at him with one of its two large round fish-like eyes and just goes,
So I got his attention. That was the plan all along. Mission success.
Done after that?
Yeah.
Gearna, you are up.
Okay. Gearna is gonna move up. That's as far as I can go. And all right, where is this lady? Because I don't see her.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
up here.
Oh, I would have moved a little differently.
Yeah, move differently. That's fine. I'm not going to hold you to it. You haven't done anything else yet?
I'm gonna go right here,
Sure.
and that way I am between her and scary fish things.
Sure. And as you approach her, she just sort of very slowly, shakily looks up at you.
For your safety, please stand behind me.
Anything else?
And I'm gonna pull a little thing. It's got a little tab on the like shoulder stuff that she has, and the cloak opens up so that she's free to fight.
And I assume she also pulls out her weapon.
Yeah, that too. Thank you.
Just double checking. I don't know. She could be barehanding it.
No, weapons are good.
Very good. What does her weapon look like?
It is a long staff sort of thing with a hook on one end and a spike on the other, and like a little bauble at the top of the hook part so that she could bash people's heads in with it.
Oh,
The bauble's like a bunch of gears.
nice. Anything else after that?
Nope, I'm just gonna wait.
Okay.
I'll ready an action so that way if they come towards me, I can smack them in the head.
Sure. All right. So, Tobi, that brings us to you.
Where am I? As when you put the woman on the map, you appear to have removed me.
You should be right over here. Do you have vision on the map?
I do, and when somehow I am like locked in as Krusk.
Are you? Okay,
Yes.
hang on. Let's fix that.
I disappeared when you made the woman appear. Toby is tired, but not that tired.
All right, give me one moment and I will fix that. Technical
Thank you.
difficulties. We need a cute little like technical difficulties sign to put up. Okay, that's fine. We can fix that easily enough.
Like an old screensaver where dice are slowly rolling.
Okay, let's see. So I don't know why you own Crust, but you don't anymore. Bam. Okay, how about now?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, good. There we go. So I have a very important question before you decide to like take your turn and do stuff. Would Toby be walking around with the thing out that he's trying to ask people about?
No.
Okay,
It is in
cool.
his bag.
Just making sure. All right, then proceed. And obviously, if you have any questions or need any help, let us know.
Are people still running down the street in this direction?
Yes.
Okay, so Toby is fairly large. So Toby is going to move up against the buildings so he can get out of the way. So he would like to move up to about, let's say, this region.
Yeah, go for it.
and he is going to continue looking down the street. When he sees Gearna move over to talk to the woman, he's going to shout to her, "What's going on?"
There are fish monsters.
Fish? And Tobi is now curious.
Great. Anything else?
That is all for now.
Okay. Kunnskap, you're up.
Kunnskap Sokar is going to move this way. And cast Bless upon Gearna, Brori, and our new friend who just joined us.
The tiny one?
Yes.
So what does that look like? Describe how it looks, how they feel, however you...
Kunnskap traces a line in the air, straight down, and upon the armor that they wear, or the clothes that they wear, there is a slight glow, and they feel empowered to do better.
Nice.
Awesome.
Do I know what these creatures are?
You do not. You've never seen these particular things before.
1 second. Let me check something. That is my turn.
All right. Aksha, you're up.
Oh, I am guessing I recognize the species behind me, yes?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Aksha can't see. Is the cart still moving?
No, the cart has stopped moving.
Okay. Aksha is going to jump on top of the cart so he can see.
Absolutely.
Boom. And let's see. Would his history or insight let him know what exactly they're fighting instead of just fish monster?
I can confidently tell you that this is something Aksha would never have seen before, but
Okay.
perhaps if at some point he were to get closer, he might be able to figure that out using a history or a nature.
History. Okay. Let's see. How far can he go? I don't want to go too close.
Yeah, at about there, if you want,
Yeah.
you have a good enough view of them that if you want to try and roll.
Yeah, I'll try from here.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to get too close.
Sure. Are you gonna do a history?
Yes, history.
Okay,
It's
cool.
+8 on my roll. To roll 20-sided, right?
Yeah.
Boom. Oop. There we go.
Ooh, pretty.
+8.
Okay.
And a D4 for my
Ah,
bless.
yes, and the bless.
23. Oh, and a D4.
Yeah.
Ooh, 27.
That's real good.
Nice.
Okay, so while you've never seen or heard about these exact things before, the way that they seem to be comprised does remind you of something that your master once explained to you as some sort of experimentation that was done in the early 600s. They don't really know how it was created, but that it definitely required a specific brand of ancient magic to do, and very, very rarely was successful.
Okay. And do I know if they're like bad things?
They are most likely. It's hard to say if they're inherently bad things because depending on who made them and how or why, it's hard to tell. But they do look at least somewhat aggressive.
Okay. Okay. So can Aksha do an action still?
No, the check is your action.
Okay, so he's done.
Okay.
Aksha will be like, interesting.
So these two fish creatures look at the group of you now, having regarded them, and they just sort of begin to again drag themselves forward. One, no, don't open, move. Why will you not move? Give me one moment because I can't get this guy to move. Stupid fish.
Please
Just
leave Toby alone this time.
Just a correction. I made a mistake. Bless does not assist with skill checks.
Oh, does it not? Okay, it wouldn't have made a difference in this case, but thank you for why is this not? Hey, the Jeff.
Yeah.
Why do you have any ideas as to why I would not be able to move?
Did you not give yourself permission?
I should have permission. I'm gonna feel like a real derp if
Can you
that's
try
the problem.
doing WASD? Can you click on one of them?
I'm working on it. Oh, okay, I see. Dodoy. I thought I could just click and drag. That's weird. Okay, so anyway, thank you for that. So one of them begins to drag itself towards the large lion person who had thrown the odd thing at it. And as it does, again, its mouth sort of opens and as it reaches you, it reaches out and grasps at you. Not necessarily overtly aggressively, but like it's trying to grab you. You manage to lean back just enough that its nails sort of just dig into your. You said you have like an overcoat on.
Yeah.
Its nails sort of dig into your overcoat, and you can hear them sort of trying to tear into the fabric itself. But it doesn't manage to get you proper. The other one, its eyes seemingly just shift at different people going by and then narrow in at the strange, shiny being that had pulled out her staff. And then it begins to and then its mouth opens and it spits out a stream of something. That's gonna be a 19 versus your AC, Gearna.
Yeah, it's gonna hit.
Hooray! Ooh. So you're going to take 9 points of force damage as this just stream of what seems to be saliva and spit hits you in the chest at full force, just sort of splashing off of you in a shower of
Ugh.
viscous liquid.
That is disgusting.
And then it begins to drag itself towards this building and digs its claws in, and you can hear them sort of break through into the stone, and it begins to pull itself upwards. And they are done, which will take us back to Brori.
Right. This thing is grappling onto me. If I remember, you said.
Yes. You are not technically grabbed.
Okay.
It tried to and failed. It's just kind of clinging to your clothes.
All right. Gonna grab onto its arm and just thrust the baton into its chest.
Yeah, go for it.
That's better. 21.
Yeah, that absolutely hits. So what happens?
With the extra D4. Yeah, the blue tips at the end of the baton light up, and as it hits it, sparks come out from the point of impact. Damage. That would be 7 points of bludgeoning and 1 point of lightning.
So you jab this thing in, and everyone sees just this spark of. Is it like blue?
Yeah.
What colors?
Blue tealish lightning.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you see this just like blue teal just explode over the thing as it almost like doubles over. And sort of like falls to its knees, twitching. Anything else?
Is it still grabbing onto me?
No, it has released you at this point.
Looking around, I'm just going to put myself between it and the kobold. I believe it's kobold.
Yeah. It does seem it's really. You know what? Aksha, why don't you describe yourself? I'm sorry, we didn't do that before.
Aksha is small, about 3'5" and he is wearing a toga, just a little toga, crosses across his body, and he has gold scales that shine really sparkly, and wings protruding from his back. He has a little mustache that kind of twitches when he moves, and he's kind of lanky, so he's always swaying as he walks. Nice. With giant, orby, very blue eyes.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to do, Brori?
Yeah, just put myself between the thing and the small.
Okay. Cool. Gearna, you're up.
Over here. And since this one's the more immediate threat, yeah, I'm gonna take my clockwork staff and I'm going to flip it around and try to kind of uppercut it with the hook end.
Sure, yeah.
That is going to be that's 16 to hit.
Yeah, that's gonna hit.
Yay! 10. Ooh. That's 13 points of damage.
Very nice. You want to describe that?
So she takes the staff and she sweeps it upward in like an arc. It's like, so first it goes down and then it goes up. And the hook just sort of catches it in the mouth flap like a fish. And she then sort of lifts it and then slams it into the ground.
And yeah, as it hits the ground, it almost sort of bounces off the cobbled street, with just bits of blood and saliva pooling under its mouth, and it looks like, and it starts reaching up for you.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, Toby, you're up.
Okay, so this one is now down on the floor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move forward because I've seen this animatronic appearing woman that I've just yelled at run forward.
Yeah, some kind of strange construct thing.
Which Toby has never seen before. So Toby is also going to move forward considerably to see what the hell is going on, and he wants to see these fish with his own eyes. So I'm going to move forward to about here. If I can do that. It's not letting me move. Let me move.
Try using the WASD keys.
Fair.
I don't know why it's doing that. But as you move closer to them, do you want to describe what they see? Like what Toby looks like.
So Toby is slightly shorter than your average polar ursine, but he's still approximately 7 feet tall. He is a bit of a chubby looking, almost like portly ursine, wearing fishing gear. He has his beige tan fishing hat on and vest, and he's carrying his pole of angling, which is a 10-foot pole that he uses usually as a walking stick of sorts. He's walked very far. So that is what you would see from him. He's got a pretty neutral expression most of the time. He likes to stare at things, and he has kind of dull gray eyes, as he's seen a lot. He's been out in nature a lot. He's been worn a little bit by the elements. So as he moves forward to, let's see, I can probably move about one more.
You have 5 feet left, yeah.
Yeah. So as I move closer here, Toby's going to look forward and see these monstrosities. Especially, he could see this one up on the wall on the side of the building over here, and the other one that is now down on the floor. And Toby is horrified. Toby has seen many things before, but Toby has never seen anything like this. And so Toby's going to, again, kind of yell forward of like, "You said fish. That's not a fish.
I said monster.
But fish." Toby heard fish. Toby came to see fish. Where are these fish?
Gonna gestures down.
It flops.
So I'm going to spend one of my key points to get into like dodge.
Sure.
Because Toby is very much on high alert right now.
So you don't have to spend a key point for that, because all you've done so far is a movement action. So you can use your standard, your action, to do a dodge action and save your key. Because the key lets you do it as a bonus action, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you don't have to waste that. You can just use your action as a dodge.
I will use my action for that then. Awesome.
Great. Okay. After Toby is Kunnskap.
Yes. I'm guessing you're hearing that.
Just a bit, yeah.
Give me a second.
No worries. That would be fine if it wasn't your turn, because then we'll just mute you when we're editing.
It's a pupper.
Doges. Those are the tiny doges.
I am going to cast flavor text. It's called The Raven's Call, but it is known as Toll the Dead in this setting at the individual right here.
Okay, walk us through it.
Wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving throw. Okay, that does not fare well for our friend here. What's the DC?
14.
14. It miserably fails.
Nine necrotic damage.
Do you want to describe your kill?
So Kunnskap raises their hands up and puts kind of a symbol like this, and out from their hand a black, almost looking like a V, escapes the hand and hits the face of this creature. As the creature's face gets hit, there's almost like an explosion of feathers, and the creature's eyes seem to glaze over, and it looks up at the sky before collapsing, seemingly unharmed by the spell effect, but dead.
Awesome. Okay. Anything else?
Kunnskap is going to move up. And as they do, they're pulling out this long, one-sided bladed dagger.
Nice. Okay. After that is Aksha.
Does Aksha have clear sight of this one? This remaining creature? Can he see him from where he is at?
Yes, Aksha does.
Okay. Aksha is going to cast a firebolt at him.
Go for it, yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
So you thrust your hand up. What color? Like, oh yeah, what's
She
up?
does have a bless.
Oh yes, you do have a plus that you can use for this.
Not sure it'll help much. No.
We tried.
I
At
tried.
least you tried. So you,
Eh.
what color is Aksha's fire? Is it like classic red fire, or is it a different?
It's more yellow, like gold color.
Awesome. So Aksha, you thrust your hand out, and this gold flame just explodes outwards, and this what almost looks like a crossbow bolt just sailing forward through the air, and it slams into the wall beside the thing, exploding with bits of ember and flame everywhere. And the strange fish monster lets out a gurgling, almost squeal as it's pelted with a bit of still flaming stone, and one of its eyes kind of rolls back to look at you, and it continues to sort of begin dragging itself up the wall.
Blast it.
Is there anything else Aksha would like to do?
Actual move forward. I can move him.
Uh,
He
do you
can't
have
move
the
going on?
Do you have the ruler selected? Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have to click the select thing to
Mm.
drag, I think.
there he is. He'll move there.
It's so strange that I can't do these things I should be able to do. Whatever. So,
Ready.
anything else after that?
No, he's a little frustrated with himself. Shouldn't be missing.
So by this point, most of the people in the area have successfully evacuated, and you begin hearing this Gearna and Brori, Aksha. Actually, all of you begin hearing this sort of gurgling sound, and the corpse of the strange fish creature in around that you're all near begins to sort of twitch and shake, and you hear what sounds like popping sounds.
Nope.
And then you see these strands, long, purple, thick strands, begin to sort of almost like worm their way out from its mouth. And as it continues to twitch, you can see the tips of its fingers start to sort of fall off, and from those as well, these sort of strange purple things begin to slither outwards, and they begin to wrap themselves around the outside of the corpse. And give me a moment. And something that at least some of you, 3 of you, have seen before, well, similar to something 3 of you have seen before, begins to almost jerkily, like a puppet on marionette strings, begin to rise up. And as it does, it thrusts its hands out towards the closest thing to it, which happens to be Gearna. That's going to be an 18.
Yeah, it's.
All right, so it grabs you, and as it does, you can feel, in whatever way Gearna feels, these tendrils begin to slowly wrap around her, restricting her movement and sort of slithering, trying to get between the like plates that she's constructed with and hold her in place. You are grappled and considered restrained. And then it is Brori's turn.
Is that an attack or?
It doesn't do any damage, but
Okay.
it is yes, it is technically an attack. If you have something you can respond with, you can.
No, I'm good. Just checking.
Okay.
Not again. Restraining Gearna. Okay. Gonna try zapping it again.
Yeah.
Plus a D4. 19.
Yeah, 19 hits.
That is 7 bludgeoning and 4 lightning damage.
Okay. Do you have any resistance to like lightning damage or anything?
Oh no.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So take 2 points of lightning damage,
Okie doke.
and then give me a second. Okay. So you slam the baton into this thing, and it almost squishes as it makes contact, sort of piercing through what seems to be significantly more rotted flesh than it should be, considering this thing has been dead less than 6 seconds. And it lets out a grunt, and then as you zap it, there's a and you can smell this just sort of rancid, almost like cooked rancid fish meat, wafting through the air.
Ugh. I'm so glad Gearna can't smell.
Anything else after that?
Do I notice Gearna got affected by that?
Oh yeah. It doesn't seem to have been too bad, but you could see that the lightning traveled through the thing.
Her eyes get like slightly brighter for like a second. Power surge.
Crap. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Gearna, you're up. And this thing has you.
Yeah. Shake my head a little bit, shake off the shock, and I'm gonna, I guess, roll a strength to try and get out.
Yeah, you can either roll a strength, athletics, or a dex acrobatics to try and break it.
Gonna go with athletics. That's 16.
Sure. So you begin struggling against it, and after a moment, you burst free. And as you do, little bits of purple tendril begin flying in every direction as these things sort of explode around against the pressure that you're putting out.
Nice. Is that my action or can I
Yes,
attack?
that is your action.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. All right. Then I'm just gonna chill where I'm at.
Cool. All right. Tobi, you're up. Kunnskap, you're on deck.
Tobi is terrified by what he is seeing. Tobi has never seen anything like this before. But Tobi sees that somebody, the person he has been communicating with this whole time, if it is indeed a person at all, seems to be in trouble, getting grappled and shocked. Tobi is confused. But Tobi sees this fish monster as the problem, and Tobi wants to help. So Tobi's going to move forward a bit to get right up next to this as Gearna breaks free. And Tobi is going to grab his staff, his pole with both hands, and just try to wonk right down on like the head and neck of this creature.
Yeah.
So we're going to go.
In my head, I see like wrestling with like a kendo stick, you know?
Very Donatello. And sorry.
No worries.
It's okay. So that's, if I'm reading right, 1d8.
Well, first you roll the attack, so it's a d20 plus your dexterity
D20.
plus your proficiency modifier, which is 2 at this level.
So plus 5, right?
Yeah.
And 18. That's why. Have to click roll. Oof.
Well, so you bring your staff down at this thing, and it sort of shifts its gaze over to you, and you see its eyes kind of like sunken into its head a bit, which perturbs you just enough that your attack just like swings wide and misses, and now it is just staring at you. And as it opens its mouth to speak, more of these tendrils begin to slip out.
Tobi doesn't know what he got himself into. Tobi regrets this decision.
All right. Anything else? Or are you done?
Is the woman still standing there?
She is for now, but probably not for much longer.
Tobi yells out, "Run!"
And she just sort of, she's almost like entranced by what's happening, and you shout that, and she and she nods.
Tobi is somehow glad she has acknowledged this.
And then you hear, almost immediately after you say it and she responds, you hear from behind you.
Ugh, no.
Kunnskap, you're up.
Kunnskap had a plan. That plan has changed. Kunnskap is backing up. Has this new variation of the creature taken damage?
It does not seem to have taken any damage yet.
From the lightning when.
Oh, right. No, I'm lying. Yes, it has. I'm
Yeah.
a liar.
Then,
Gearna in that process.
Yup. You're right.
then the
you're
same
right.
spell as before, a wisdom saving throw.
And it fails just as miserably.
For 1 second, it was stuck, and I was like, tell me the digital dice got cocked.
That would be funny. Alright, yeah. Would you like to describe your kill of this thing again?
Kunnskap, as soon as this thing like emerges from the corpse of what they just killed, the the hands come up, and everyone hears Kunnskap whisper something in a language I don't think anyone else has ever heard, and
No.
then says, "I said die," and does it again.
Awesome.
And as the thing hits the ground this time, you can see almost in like rapid decay, and by the time it hits the ground, it's little more than a shriveled husk. It seems like something that had been left for hundreds of years to just rot, decay, and return to, the earth. Bleh.
Did it just like rot off of me?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there's little bits of like ichor is still on you.
Oh, Aksha's so impressed.
It just smells like rotted fish. Alright, Aksha is both impressed and up.
Okay. Aksha says, I need to shoot this thing again. Second time. Aksha's gonna hit it. Aksha will.
I super believe in you, Aksha.
Yes.
Oh yes, Aksha did.
Nice.
I forget what I add to it.
Nothing. It's just the die.
Nothing.
Yeah.
All right, good.
So-
7.
Yeah, this time you throw it and it just blasts
Tobi!
it just blasts into the back of this thing, and it lets out another sort of like gurgling shriek, and this time it falls from the wall and lands on all fours.
Just really
And-
quickly,
Yes.
does Aksha not have a charisma modifier?
Yeah, I think so. That's what I was wondering. Would I add if I
Is
add
that from a
anything to the
feature?
rule?
You add that for Firebolt? I thought Firebolt was flat damage for some reason.
No, it's
All
a
cantrips-
spell attack roll.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm bugging. No, the damage is 1d10 flat.
Oh, I think he means
The
for the.
attack
Oh, you mean
roll.
for the attack? I see.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so it would be 17 plus charisma plus it's the basic spell attack roll. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you meant for damage, and I was very confused for a second because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know Firebolt is flat
No.
damage. Yeah, so this thing like hits the ground, and it sort of like shivers for a moment, and as the flame sort of goes out, you can see a bit of its like scaly back has been burned away, and beneath it is just this sort of almost translucent skin, and under that you can see just writhing what look like the same sort of tendrils, and it just sort of both of its eyes roll around in its head and then focus on you, Aksha, and it lets out another
Excellent shot.
And is there anything else you'd like to do, Aksha?
Aksha is going to go move. By big cat person. Yes, you're tall. Yes, this is good. Mm.
Gold.
Hello. Aksha will stand next to you, strong one. Yes,
Sounds like a plan.
very good. Aksha is good now.
I will count this as a solid half cover. Which is good, because at just about the time where you line yourself up behind the Lavion, you all hear the whoa, whoa,
Oh no.
and it spits this stream again. But it just goes wide, missing both Brori and Aksha, and blasting the cart behind them, taking off a bit of the wood actually, and sending little like wood shavings flying. Looking back, you notice the guy who had been driving the cart is nowhere to be seen, having abandoned the group of you and the horses.
Finders keepers.
Keepers.
Well, damn. And they are done. Give me a moment.
These things are nasty. Gross.
Yeah.
And then Brori, you're up with Gearna on deck.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep my distance away from it now that I know we can hug people. Gonna move up a step.
Caution, they are huggers.
I sure. I'm going to throw the baton at that one.
Yeah, go for it.
15 plus the D4. 18.
Yeah, it's gonna hit.
Awesome. That is 6 bludgeoning and 3 lightning.
So you said 6 and 3, right?
Yeah.
So you throw it and it, bam, slams this thing in the face, and begins to shock it. And as it does, you see, as it screams out, its eye sort of begins to sink into its face again. Well, like the other ones. And your baton flies back to you. Anything else?
Just gonna move over here. If it can hit a bunch of us with that water, then spreading out sounds like a good idea.
Does he say that out loud? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. After that, the halfling woman, now kind of shaken out of her stupor from the slightly less menacing giant bear, begins to run, and you can hear her bare feet sort of slapping against the cobblestone as she does.
Yeah, bucket lady.
That's about as far as she can. Oh, well, no, because she's not doing anything else. So she's going to keep running. She kind of just like scurries behind the cart.
I'm like, instead of leaving the, I thought she was flat out leaving the city. She's like, that's it, I'm done.
I'm done. Whatever.
Evacuate.
Who cares? Yeah, who cares about my son? I'm done. I quit. My son is not worth getting attacked by fish monster.
I'm opening a bed and breakfast. I'm done with this city.
All right, you're up, Toby. You're on deck.
Okay. Gonna go up to it because that's how I do.
How you roll?
That's how I roll. And I'm going to take my staff and flip it up so the pointy end is, being pointy. I'm going to try and stab it in the gut.
Yeah, go for it.
$18.
Yep, that absolutely hits.
Cool. That's 10. It's 12 points of damage.
Sure. Yeah. So you thrust the pointy end of your staff into this thing's gut, and you go deep. And there's a and it sort of like swipes at you with its claws, but you manage to keep it at just enough distance that it misses, and then it sort of slumps and it falls.
Perhaps this is a cultural difference, but isn't a pointy-ended staff called a spear?
Sometimes, but this is a cultural difference. So, it slumps forward, and as it does, its weight sort of pushes it forward, and it falls deeper onto the pointy end of your staff, and then it begins to twitch. And you see, as you begin to pull, I assume, pull your staff out, right?
Yeah.
As you do, there are already these purple tendrils sort of wrapped around it. But you manage to sort of like yank it free.
I would like to activate my fire rune.
Sure, yeah.
So it's a 13 strength save.
Sure. It saves.
Curses. All right.
And again, slowly the tendrils begin to sort of wrap around its form, and its movements become more jerkish and forced.
All right, and that's my turn. I'm just gonna chill there with this guy.
All right, Tobi, you're up. Kunnskap, you're on deck.
I've gotten close to the first one, and I do not like what happened. So, but I still want to support this person that I have just met, who seems to also need some help. So Tobi is gonna move over a bit to here. Let's see. I'll have to turn this off, right? Let's see. Here. And Tobi's going to, like, from his belt around his waist, pull out his rope dart and try to angle to at least throw to, like, graze some of the tendrils off the top of this creature.
Yeah, go for it.
So it's the same roll, right, for the d20?
Yeah, d20 plus your dexterity plus proficiency.
Okay. That'd be an 11.
That is gonna miss.
So it just goes wide.
Yeah, this thing is just sort of jerking around too much, and it's not easy to really figure out how to graze it, and so it just flies right past its head, and it doesn't even really acknowledge you as that happens, seemingly completely focused on the either impossibly armored individual or construct or whatever it is this thing might be.
Tobi is scared. Tobi encourages this construct to run. Tobi doesn't understand why you're trying to fight it.
So it doesn't eat you.
Tobi doesn't know if you're edible.
You
Tobi doesn't know if
probably are.
any of you are edible.
So it is about this point where let me just make sure. Yes, great. Okay, all of you would be able to see it. This is about this point when you see, sort of running from further down the street, a gentleman in like full plate mail. In one hand, he has this sort of beautiful silver longsword, and the other a wide shield. He seems to be a bit squat. He's about 5 feet tall, from what you can tell, and has like the frame of an ox, and he just is like barreling down the street. For those of you who are in the know, you recognize on his shield is the symbol of Balas, which means this is very likely, I assume, Gearna and Aksha. You would definitely know this. The other 3 of you, if you want, you can just roll me a history. But for definitely, at least for the 2 of you, this is the symbol of Balas.
Can I very quickly, as like a free action, just pull the little tab that closes my cloak?
Sure, yeah.
Did you say I already know what this is?
You should roll a history.
I'm gonna roll
A history, not a religion.
Oh, religion. I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. So, Brori, you and Tobi have probably never really come across anyone who has worn at least this kind of symbol of Balas, because as you, Aksha, and you, Gearna, know, this is not the traditional symbol of Balas. It's slightly modified. But for the rest of you, for Kunnskap, Aksha, and Gearna, the three of you know that this is the symbol of Balas as presented by Sapists, which is the, as mentioned before, the religion that the Silver Crest believes in and is the dominant religion in all of Lysantis, no more so than here in Southreach. Which makes it a very, very likely that this gentleman is a Templar of some sort. And then, Kunnskap, it is your turn.
Damn.
That is not going to hit. What does your guiding bolt look like?
Another flurry of hand waving, and then seemingly after drawing runes into the air and coalescing them into energy, Kunnskap thrusts their hand forward, and a bolt of multicolored light escapes their hands to apparently do extremely incredible damage to the side of the building that Kunnskap has deemed the enemy in this situation.
One of the shingles from the roof just like goes flying, and you hear off in the distance, "My house!"
Your house has been tainted. It is to be destroyed.
Anything else from Kunnskap?
No.
Oh.
Well, how damaged is my knightly looking friend?
How does the knightly looking friend look?
I'm a little scratched up, but I'm gonna just be quiet from that point forward.
I'll throw a healing word in their direction, which in this would be more of a healing rune, not a word.
Heal them.
For 9 healing.
Thank you. Does that work? Because I don't remember if we just yes, okay.
It heals the soul, not necessarily.
Yay. I don't know if I have one of those, but I'll take it.
Small,
Yeah, so there's no way to be sure that like Gearna has one of those.
small runic symbols begin to buff against your armor and wax on, wax off, as it were.
All right. Much better.
Lovely. All right, after that, Aksha, you're up.
Okay, Aksha is. So where's the direction that dude is coming from?
Coming from up here.
Up there. Okay. Aksha is going to, let's see. I think I can go. Yeah, he could go there. It's 25 feet. He's going to fly and land over here. And he is going to firebolt this dude again.
Go for it.
Oh, my spell list isn't coming up again.
That's weird.
There it is. Okay.
Hey, we got that. Yeah. So it's the D20 plus spellcasting ability mod, which is charisma for you, plus proficiency.
Okay.
You got this. It.
No.
And it's bad.
You just systematically you continue to aid Kunnskap in taking apart this house. Because nothing comes out this time.
Yeah. Aksha. What?
This
What?
house is truly the enemy of the gods.
It is not your day either, small hot one.
Yeah. What's wrong with me today? Actually, I've had to walk too far. I'm tired. Okay. Aksha's turn is done.
So this thing is going to leap at Gearna. And as it does, its fingers begin to sort of extend into more of these tendrils, each one beginning to sort of split with this sort of awful sort of squishing sound as the flesh separates into these just infinitely smaller, almost latticed-like tendrils. But that misses you terribly. So as it like leaps at you, you manage to take your staff and, remembering something you learned long ago in training, sort of plant the bottom of it against the lower part of this thing and throw it off balance, so it ends up sort of sweeping past you and ends up over there. At which point you hear from off in the distance, "What the fuck is that?"
Fish monster.
And then
Magical construct.
It's a very that is a very evil house. Burn it.
Brori, you're up here now. You're on deck.
Okay. We get the +2 flanking rule.
Yeah.
in the homebrew, right?
Yes. Yeah. As long as you guys are on exact opposite sides, you get +2 to hit.
Right. And Brori is going to move opposite of Gearna on this dude, and bludgeon him in the faces.
Bludgeon him in the face.
So I get a D4 and +2 from the flanking.
That's true.
Let's hope.
Bless is for what, a minute?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
10 rounds.
Yeah.
11.
That's gonna miss.
There was an attempt.
So you go running up, and you notice this thing is distracted and still off, like, kilter from Gearna, and you go swinging, and one of its, like, shoulders almost sort of sloughs off. And so you just miss, because what would have been contact no longer is, as a pile of it just sort of is on the floor, and you see it sort of pull itself back towards the thing's foot and sort of be reabsorbed into it. And now it's just got this large, oversized 1 foot.
Okay. I don't like this thing. I'm done.
I love that visual, by the way, where it's like, okay, I don't like this thing. I'm done. I'm done. Someone else, please. You're up.
Yeah, okay. 1 second.
Yeah. And then, Tobi, you're on deck.
Okay. I am gonna thwack it again.
Whack it.
I'm gonna use my cantrip, which is booming blade.
So, how does that look?
So basically, my staff starts emitting this sort of pulsating, vibrating energy, and it sort of gathers up. And as I go to take the swing, which is 18,
Yeah, that's gonna hit.
Perhaps this
That-
is another cultural difference, but a vibrating long stick is usually called.
and that energy gathers up at the top, where she brings it down, and it just booms against its head. So that is gonna be my regular weapon damage plus 1d8 damage. Nine, 11, 12, 13, 14 points of damage.
Oh, go ahead and describe your kill.
So she brings her staff around and collides to the side of this thing's head, and the energy that had gathered there just explodes outward in this sort of like bass drop sound, and its head just explodes. It just completely explodes open like a movie, and tentacle head guts go everywhere.
Whoa, so many impressive.
So it's just raining just bits of tentacle and brain and rotted flesh, which unfortunately covers everyone but Kunnskap and Aksha in just viscera as the rest of this thing's corpse twitches and falls. And like the first, just by the time it hits the ground, it's mostly desiccated. And again, you hear from off in the distance, "What the And then we're going to drop out of initiative. And so as we do, this gentleman continues to approach. And as he gets closer, you notice that he's got this sort of like simple leather strap holding back what seems like long, coarse black hair, which keeps it out of his fairly well-trimmed, bearded face. He has small, jutting tusks, high, hard cheekbones, and a very strong jaw, which makes it very clear that he is of both Orcish and Dwarven heritage. And he has these sort of cold gray eyes that look first down at the husk of a body on the ground and then at the group of you and go, "All right, what the fuck happened here?"
Ish.
Fish monsters.
I actually don't know.
Tobi does not know.
While that is happening, Kunnskap is currently, with their dagger out, ripping open what is left of the body and seemingly trying to either read the entrails of this thing or try to inspect the makings of what it was.
So as you like kneel over it and start to carve into it, the Templar looks over and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing? You stop that! Back up!"
Kunnskap doesn't seem to notice that they're speaking to them.
And he starts sort of making his way over, and he sort of like kicks at you a bit, not like aggressively, but he like kicks at you. Get away from there!
Kunnskap's head turns slowly upwards, with the eyes still glowing red, and says, "I did not know that you had claim over this body."
Would you like to roll me an intimidation?
Sure.
It sounds mighty like what's happening right now.
Not that that's my strong suit.
He takes a moment and sort of pauses. He goes, "Just Well, everything in Southreach falls under our jurisdiction. Could you just back away from the body, please? Clearly a bit off kilter.
Kunnskap stands and goes, "My apologies. I was unaware of this policy here," and kind of thrusts this mass of guts and into their chest and says, "It is all yours. I did not mean to insult." And kind of like again, and the others have not seen this. The two that Kunnskap arrived with has seen this, but on all fours kind of skitters back towards the rest of the group after encrusting this god.
And so he drops his sword as you thrust the still sort of steaming entrails into the guard's chest, and he takes it and then he looks over at the rest of you and he goes, "Is your friend okay?"
Physically,
And he like drops it.
While I was doing that, can I roll some sort of medicine check or something?
What are you looking for?
What this was? How did this happen? Was this a parasite? What?
You could roll me at disadvantage because you didn't get a very long time to inspect it.
Take that disadvantage.
It doesn't seem. It seems like it might have been some kind of parasite, but not like any you've ever experienced or encountered before. But there are bits of it that do sort of seem to fit that bill. Just about at this time, Kunnskap, you notice that the halfling woman from before is sort of peeking out from behind the carts. "Excuse me," she calls over to the group of you. Is it safe now?"
I mean, they seem dead.
Oh, I hope they're dead. That was. Oh. All right. And then the guard looks over for a moment and he goes, "Lena, is that you again?" "Yes." "All right. Well, I'll deal with you in a minute. First, let's take this step by step, not something that happens every day in this city. Can I have some identification from each of you, please?"
I'll walk up to him, pull out the compass and hand to him and say, "Those two are with me."
Do they also have fancy trinkets from the guilds?
No, they're just my associates.
Great. I would like to see your associates' papers.
He's gonna step to the side and gesture, go right ahead.
Oh,
Kunnskap is kind of watching Gearna for like direction on this, not knowing at all what's happening.
Aksha
You're
just
gonna-
flies down. Aksha's gonna float down right in front of the guard and be like, "I'm here to see Aksha, my master's, was murdered. Here's his book from school. I'm here to go to see him, see a friend. And these things, they're magical. My master told me so."
The book.
Yes, a book. It's his notes.
You did
It
ask
has his
for
name on the
papers.
front.
That has a lot of papers in it.
It does have lots of papers. You asked for papers.
As this is
What
happening,
does he mean by papers?
As this conversation is happening, Toby has walked off and is now looking at the body that Kunnskap has opened up and is comparing the tendrils that are upon him with what is left inside.
Gearna very carefully pulls out stiff, ancient paperwork that will probably fall apart when he tries to take it from her.
So he goes to grab it with like the one free hand he now has, holding the book and the compass in the other. And he stops right before gripping it and looks back over and goes, "Hey, you stay away from that body. Don't do it."
That body belongs to him, apparently.
Well, no, it's not.
Karen, the gods here must enjoy the taste of parasitic fish.
No, it's not for eat. Well, you gonna eat that? Don't eat that. What is
I wasn't
wrong
going
with
to eat
you?
it. I just felt as though you had a very stiff claim upon the body.
We're not.
I was merely trying to assuage the inner workings of the creature so we may garner some information. But if it's something you'd like to put in your cook pot, I understand.
Toby has ignored this conversation and is like sniffing the tendril and is like
It
he
smells.
sticks his nose into the body like the
Oh,
and is
God.
just like sniffing the interior.
No, and he comes back over and he kind of like shoves you, but it doesn't move you at all. Stop that! Don't touch the body.
I look up at him and I'm like, "Hi, I am Toby. Is this your body? Do you know where this came from?"
I already said this is their body. They want this body.
Oh,
And like halfway through the sentence, Kunnskap starts speaking Ursine.
appreciate it. So I turn immediately to Kunnskap and I start conversing with him in Ursine of, oh, this body his. This his,
Yeah.
he know. I
The-
take like the tendrils off of my body and I start like gesturing like here's the rest. Like
They
this is
especially-
yours, right?
They especially like it if you throw it upon them, it seems.
I get back up to my full height, which towers over this person, and I start picking the tendrils off myself and placing it upon his shoulders.
Yes, it does seem to be the cultural expectations of this place.
I turn back to Kunnskap and I say, "Thank you very much." Toby was confused.
Do you have identification?
They wish you to identify yourself, apparently.
Oh, hi, I am Toby.
Their name is Toby.
Do you have anything that proves this, or could tell me where you're from?
Oh, I go into my bag and I pull out this container that has a fish in it, and I open it. It's preserved in salt, and I say, "Oh, I have fish. Do you know about this fish?"
No.
Well, this fish is from the frozen lakes. Do you know the lakes? That is where I am from. I am Toby of the lakes.
You're a long way from home, aren't you?
Yes, Toby walked very far.
Right, well, don't touch the bodies. Don't touch anything around the bodies.
They don't want fur in their soup.
Toby
where-
is clean.
I'm very glad to hear that. If you weren't, there's any number of bathhouses where you could fix that, but for now, I would appreciate it if you just didn't touch the bodies. Is there somewhere that I need to go and get some people to come back with me to help secure these so we can figure out what the fuck is going on.
Is this
Is-
a usual occurrence here?
No, that's why
Toby thinks they came from that house.
your entire life. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Why do you think that they came from the house? Please, let's hear.
The
And
house
he
is,
like shrugs off the rest of the like
the house is
still on
evil.
him.
Burn that house.
When Toby arrived, people attack house.
Yes.
Who was attacking the house?
Toby gestures wildly.
All
Like
right.
at everyone here.
Was there a reason you were all attacking the house?
Poor aim.
I missed.
All right. So do the group of you think they came from the house?
Not at all.
They could have come from anywhere.
Well, where did you first see them?
On the streets with people running and screaming away.
Okay. And that's it. You don't know where they came from or anything like that. You had nothing to do with this?
If you allowed me to further inspect the creature, I could probably find out where they came from. From quick examination of it, it did appear to be fish-like in nature, and therefore I would suspect, in my deductions, that it came from water. And Kunnskap nods to themselves very sagely at this statement.
On the
So
note of that,
yeah.
not sure about where the fish themselves came from, but the things inside the fish that are on your shoulders and such, we found in a cave north of here.
Yes, they are very similar to those creatures.
Are you sure this is not a normal occurrence?
I am quite
in these
sure.
parts?
I've never seen these things before.
Fish or worm?
Aksha said know what they are.
Oh, you do?
My teacher said they are magical constructs made by magic, sorcery, alchemy. I'm not sure.
So someone has to create
But
them.
somebody had to make them. They are made.
Just to be
I-
sure,
Old
the
magic.
fish, not
Old magic.
the worm's not the fish, right?
I am inciting the guard to make sure that they are not trying to hide anything.
As Aksha says this, Toby kind of jostles over to Aksha and says, "Hi, I am Toby. Do you know an alchemist?"
No, I don't know alchemist. My master knew alchemist.
Oh, where is your master?
My master's dead.
Oh, Toby is sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
So
I will
while-
find who's done this.
So while this is happening, Kunnskap, you rolled an insight, right? So as they are discussing this thing, when Aksha says that he knows what they are and begins to explain it, you notice that there is a clear interest peaked from this Templar, and it becomes clear to you that perhaps there's more to it than he has said thus far. He looks over at you, Brori, and he goes, "Well, yeah, I can tell you for sure we've never seen fish like this before. And, happens to coincide with a couple of new faces in town. I'm sure you can understand that why there's some suspicion here. Especially with
Understandable,
such
but
suspicious faces."
if you just ask the, or he's going to look around for the guy who was on the cart.
He's nowhere to be found.
You can ask the nice lady who is hiding behind the cart.
Yes, and if we find the person who was driving the cart, you can ask them as well. Or are the two guards that were out front of the gate?
They're still out front. As far as you know, you can't see them.
There should be two guards out there that saw us come in. No fish around.
And Lena sort of pokes her head out from behind the cart and starts to slowly make her way over. And she goes, It's true, They had nothing to do with it, as far as I can tell. They really, once they showed up, they just immediately. She won't move at all. It's fine. Once they showed up, they just were trying to keep people from getting hurt. But I don't think they had anything to do with it.
Quick question. Does Toby have any tribal markings that I would recognize?
Not outwardly, no.
Gearna makes a slight bow to the woman. Thank you for your words of confidence.
Thank you for jumping to protect me. All right, well, obviously, I need to hear a lot more about what it is that you said you found north of here.
The worms in humanoid?
Yeah, they were humanoid.
Humanoid corpses. Long dead, we believe. Would he still have the order to go look in that cave or whatever documents that sent him to the cave originally?
Yeah.
He'll pull that out and show him to the guard. This was my original order to search that area for guild-related business. And
So the guard takes it from you, and as he does, he returns to you your compass, but he's still holding on to the book, at least for now. And he takes the paperwork and he unfurls it. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna hold on to this for now, so I can have it looked at. Yeah.
can I get your name?
You want my name? I'll make you a deal. That's a fair request, but I'm gonna need your names too. I'm Valda Silverson.
How do you spell that? Valdis
Valder, Valdur.
Silversun, you said?
Yes. So, would any of you know? Aksha, you would probably know this. When anyone becomes part of the Silver Gauntlet, they effectively give up their family name and either become Silver Son or Silver Sister, or any variation thereof. And they are essentially forsaking whoever they were before to devote themselves to the Silver Gauntlet.
Okay.
So that's me. I'm a Knight Templar of the Silver Gauntlet, and now it's your turn. Yeah.
He's gonna point to the bottom or wherever of the border where his name is, right there.
I am Aksha. Aksha.
Hi, I am Tobi.
Gearna.
And then he looks over at you, Kunnskap. It's a very expectant look. Your name?
The question is flawed.
I require your name so that I can put in my report who was here and who was involved. And that way, later, if I need to speak with you again, I will have a name by which to refer to you as. So I need your name.
You may refer to me as Kunnskap Sokar.
Couldn't have just been hordes of undead. No, it had to be all right. Fine. Now, where is it that I would be able to find the lot of you if I need to speak with you again? or to return this, and he waves the guild paperwork.
I assume that there's a guild hall somewhere in this.
Yeah, so to the north there is a financial district, and in the financial district there is a major guild hall that houses most of the Doorwind guilds within that building, the hosts that they have here.
The guild hall in the financial district, I would assume. If we're not there, someone in the guild should be able to take it in. So get in contact with us that you're looking for us.
All right. Fine. Just don't make any more trouble. Yeah? And tomorrow, we're all gonna have a sit down. And I want to know why you're here, how long you expect to be staying, and we'll go from there, because this is not how things work here in Southreach. It's a peaceful city, and it's gonna stay that way, yeah?
I mean, it was peaceful till the fish came.
At this point, Lena sort of speaks up and goes, "Well, have you heard anything about my son yet, or the other attacks?"
There were other.
Is there a text?
No, Lena, we have not heard anything about your son. Yes, there have been other attacks. There have been a few, although this is the first one with fish, or these strange worm things. Although, over the last few months, there have been a handful of supposed attacks, although this is the first time that anyone has, well, that we have been able to see proof of such. And no, we haven't heard anything about your son or found anything about your son or any of the others.
Others?
There have been a number of people who have gone missing.
Should I roll another insight check on this god?
You could if you'd like to, sure. It probably won't give you anything more than you've already noticed, which is, that he's definitely keeping something.
I think Brori will also do an insight.
Sure.
Do. There was an attempt.
Yeah, it nothing that you're not already aware of on both counts. Look, I have things to deal with. I have to get this taken care of. If you want more information, you're welcome to sit down with Lena here, but tomorrow at noon, I want you, and he points down the street towards the west. He goes 4 blocks down.
Which section are we in? What part of the city?
You're coming in through the eastern gate.
Eastern, I thought. Okay. The other side for whatever reason. Okay.
Yeah, no worries. 3 blocks. Wait. Yeah, the eastern gate. 3 blocks down on Brown Street, there's a guard station, and I want you all there at noon tomorrow. And we're gonna have a conversation, yeah?
All right.
Very well.
If I have to come find any of you, then that conversation will not be in the station, but instead is going to be inside of a holding cell.
Brown
And
Street, you
only
said,
at
yes?
the end, I did, and only at the end of that conversation will I decide whether or not you get to go out of the holding cell. So don't make me come looking for you.
I
You
knew.
do not treat heroes very well here.
We treat heroes very well when they're forthcoming.
I gesture at the thing that he's holding.
And he gestures over to Kunnskap.
Brori nods.
Kunnskap kind of just looks around. Did I do something wrong?
No,
And Valder begins to walk away off to find a few others to help him with collecting these corpses.
As soon as that individual leaves, the red eyes of Kunnskap turns towards Tobi. Which tribe are you from?
Tobi is not from a tribe. Tobi lives on the outskirts. Tobi is not a villager.
But you must hear. Well, actually, Kunnskap would probably know the ins and outs, kind of that society, no?
A bit. As I understand it, the particular people you come from are not hugely associated with any other groups, right?
We're not associated, but we have lots of knowledge about, especially surrounding groups.
You would probably know that they exist. You would know about there's a rather large city that they've started to, well, by northerner terms, that they've started to sort of assemble. But there are a lot of other smaller groups that live sort of on their own in smaller towns and villages.
So do you not come from a clan or house name?
Tobi has one name, Tobi.
Fascinating. Why have you come down? You are as far, actually, yes, just as far north as I come. And all of this is in Ursine, by the way.
Tobi is on his life's mission. Tobi must save the lakes of his home. And he goes in his bag again and pulls out his fish in the bag of salt. And it's just like, do you know about this fish?
I guess I will check to see if I know of the fish. Is this a nature check?
This will be a nature check, yeah. Okay. Oh, so what kind of fish is it, Tobi?
It is a Fugimarilan, which is native to the lakes of that area, but this one's a little different.
So what's different about it?
The difference is not external, but the fish has been actually cut open so you could see its innards if you check. And part of its intestinal entrails are different. They've been mutated in not exactly the same way as the tendrils that we just saw, but it essentially is when this fish eats and then poops, it poops stuff that pollutes the water that makes it toxic to other wildlife. So the lake that Tobi fishes in has gotten polluted, and this is the culprit.
So with your nature check being what it is, Kunnskap, you can tell that while not exactly the same, you do see some striking similarities between the innards of this fish and the innards of these creatures beyond some fish anatomy. For the rest of you, it looks as though Kunnskap and Tobi are just sort of growling and groaning at each other.
Brori, not understanding any of this, is gonna walk over to the halfling. What's her name again?
You're asking her that? Or you're asking me that?
Yeah, they've mentioned it.
Okay, yeah, Lena.
Lena. So Brori will walk over to Lena, look down and say, you said that there were other attacks, and disappearances and the such?
Yes, there are. Could we get away from those, please? And she points over to the.
Why don't we all go somewhere to perhaps get a drink?
That's not a bad idea. We could head over to Annie's. Annie's is a good place to get a drink around here.
Yes, I think that is for the best. Aksha, will you join us?
Yes. Since Angry Man wants me come back tomorrow, I shall stay.
This will not interfere with meeting your friend?
They say he's not here. I don't believe them, though. I think they're lying to Aksha. She'll see.
Okay, then for now.
Brori,
If you don't mind, I shall tag along.
Yes.
Excellent.
this fish has striking similarities to the parasitic nature of what we've been coming across.
You have seen this not
he-
just here.
Are you referring? Is he referring to the fish that Toby's holding, or the
They are,
parasites?
They are, yeah, but I believe they're speaking in Ursine still.
No.
No, this is in common?
To Brori, yes.
Oh, you said this to Brori. For some reason in my head, I was like...
So he's. Which fish is he referring to?
The one in the jar. And it's they.
I can really make that out.
Yes, the one in the jar.
And Kunnskap is they, them.
My apologies. Huh.
And the halfling sort of like... She gets on her tiptoes to sort of peer over into the jar. Like, oh, that is... Oh,
This is the jars from the ones that we found in the cave, right?
No, the one that Toby had.
Toby, right? Sorry, getting mixed up.
A jar with my fish.
I'm going to go check
Huh.
out the fish with everybody else because apparently this fish is very interesting.
can we please continue this not here? Can we start?
Yeah, let's start
Yes, let us
walking.
do this.
Brori will turn to Toby. So, where did you get that fish?
Toby caught it himself. The Fugimarilan are fairly common where Toby is from. I don't know if they have Fugimarilan here. Toby has not gotten the chance to fish here yet. That's where Toby was headed. Toby was going to try to catch lunch. Toby is very hungry.
At that point, at the mention of Toby saying that they are hungry, Kunnskap hands them a berry that looks very nondescript, but eat this.
Toby takes it and says, Are you friend?
For now, it seems that is the case, yes.
Thank you, friend. And Toby eats the berry.
That berry makes you feel as though you have eaten an entire meal. And if you are missing any hit points, you get 4 hit points back.
So is this like an instantaneous feeling of fullness?
Yes.
So Toby's like, ooh. Do you have any more of this berry?
I will give you 1 more, but if you eat too many, there are complicated issues that may arise, and another berry is given.
Well, Toby's not going to eat this right away, but Toby thanks you, friend, and pockets it for later.
And I assume we're just following Nina as we do this.
Yeah.
I want to speak to Lena. Yes, Aksha wants to.
Yeah, and she's just walking at the head of the group. And as
You
say
mentioned son, your son missing.
Yes, he's been gone for a few months now.
Months.
I'm not from here. I'm from a small. We were from a small village to the east. Armcroft. And he left to come here because he thought that he would be able to make a better living for himself. And he sent a few letters, but then they stopped. And eventually I came looking, and no one can tell me where he is. He's just gone somehow.
Has he mentioned in notes why what things going bad?
No, everything seemed to be going well. He found an investor and was going to be starting a business. He was going to be selling pies. He was always such a good baker. He had found someone here to help teach him to make him even better at it, and someone who was going to give him money to invest to start a shop by the markets.
Do you know the names of these people?
I know that the gentleman who was going to teach him about the pies was Fletch someone. But I don't know who his investor was because I only heard about them once. He mentioned them and he was very excited. He was so happy, and I just never heard from him again.
I'm very sorry for your troubles.
And the guard, they say they don't know anything, and they say they're looking, but
Aksha no trust him. Something off.
He did seem to have more information that he was letting on.
No, he said town's peaceful, city peaceful. And then more attacks. Not peaceful if we just come and get attacked. No, he's lying about things I don't trust.
I haven't seen anything from Valder to make me think that he's more than trying to toe a line for the sake of keeping the peace. He's certainly rough around the edges, but I don't know if he's lying exactly. I don't know. At this point, I'm willing to take any help that I could get. I just want my son back. Eventually, she stops and looks ahead of her. There is this very large, sort of beaten up, rundown building that has a sign that seems to be hanging by one of what used to be two chains, and it just says Annie's on it. Going inside, the place is, to put it politely, not very well built, with the rafters sort of cracked and filled with cobwebs and dust, and very little in the way of decorative furniture inside. The tables and seats all seem to have been cobbled together from discarded wood and whatever happened to be around at the time. But the place does seem to be relatively packed. And as you enter, Lena sort of glances around and she finds a table near the back and she points to it and she goes, we can probably sit there.
Get over to the table.
Yeah.
And she hops up onto the seat and she settles in. I don't. I've run out of leads. They say that maybe he left town, or that maybe he was baited out of town and then attacked. But I haven't even been able to find anything to suggest that either.
Hmm.
I worry that maybe they just don't care.
While she is speaking, Kunnskap is going to pull out a small pouch. Inside the pouch, there's a sound of hollow, seeming clanking coming from it. And they open it up, and they speak a word while tracing another rune in the air before casting their runes upon the top of the table. A mix of small skulls and bones carved with various runes upon them moves over the table. And this isn't really a spell yet because I don't have one, so I'm just going to roll a religion check. See if there's anything that the gods deem worthy to tell me.
So it's going to take you a couple of minutes of sitting and scrying to see if it's effective. So we will come back to that. If there's anything anyone else wants to do in the meantime.
Perhaps they simply do not know and are trying to reassure you as best as they can.
Maybe. I just don't know what to do anymore.
Have you heard anything about the other disappearances I think you mentioned about?
I've done. I'm not particularly good at any of this, but I've asked around and I've spoken to people, and there have been quite a few who have gone missing. All of them seem to have not been native to Southreach. They seem to have come from somewhere else and been looking to either pass through or to make a new life here, but because of that, it's so hard to get any information about them, who they are, where they could have went, even who would have spoken to them. It's just small bits I've picked up here and there. There's just, I don't know what else to do. I've tried everything. The only thing I haven't managed to find yet is this Fletch gentleman. It's the only name that I know from these letters, and so far it's led me nowhere.
Perhaps it is something that you simply need to do a long dive for. It will take a long time to find one man in a city this big.
She stops for a moment and then she reaches out and she sort of like, Brori, she goes to grab your hand. She goes, I know you said you're with the guilds.
Yes.
I don't have much, but perhaps I could pay you. Perhaps you could help. Please. She looks across the table at all of you. I don't have very much, but what I have is I will happily give you. I need an answer. I need to know.
We can work. We can deal with that later. As long as the guards don't take up too much of our time, I wouldn't be against helping you, but he looks towards everyone else.
Yes, it does seem they want to share their tentacle fish soup with us tomorrow.
I definitely do not mind helping.
Aksha know what it's like to lose family, so I will help.
Tobi knows what it's like to dedicate time to a quest, but Tobi must ask, and he pulls out the jar with the fish, and he says, like, do you know this fish?
No,
I know this fish.
I don't.
No? Oh, okay. But
Sorry. Thank you, though. And she like goes into the sort of inner pocket of the like ratty vest that she has on, and she pulls out this small coin purse, and she literally just like dumps it out, and most of what's in it are small, like crumpled up pieces of scroll or parchment, but 2 silver coins fall out of it. Just it's all I don't, please.
It's fine for now. We haven't produced anything yet, so no need to pay us right now.
The tarred fingered, long nailed hand of Kunnskap Soka reaches out and starts flicking through the scrolls, seemingly disinterested in the silver.
Why don't you hold on to that and let us buy you a drink?
Really? Thank you. So Kunnskap, you're just sort of rifling through these pieces of
After reading the runes, yes.
Okay. So you don't get any direct response, but sometimes when this happens, it's not something that they will direct. Well, usually when this happens, it's not something where they will directly answer you. Often something will happen around you at some point that will be able to be seen as some sort of a sign to lead you in the right way. But nothing immediate. However, as you sort of rifle through these pieces of parchment, there is something that catches your eye. On one of them is a symbol drawn, and while immediately it doesn't seem particularly interesting, as you continue rifling through other pieces of parchment, you can't help but feel your eye keep being drawn back to the symbol. And you can't tell why. Something about it just feels familiar.
The tarred tipped finger reaches out and pokes at the symbol and looks up at our new companion and says, "What is this?"
Oh, she takes it and she like unfurls it and like flattens it out and holds the edges down. It goes, my son, he sent me, it was with one of his notes. He said it was going to be the local that he used for his shop. He got it from his investor. He said that he had given him this as sort of a proof of concept for it. something to put on the sign to make it seem unique and stand out.
As soon as it is pulled out and flattened, Kunnskap reaches over with both hands, takes it, and really starts to twist and turn it to see if there's a way that Kunnskap can remember where this image is familiar from.
Roll me an investigation.
I'm gonna lean and peek because I want to see what it is.
What, a 19?
Yes.
So, the more that you sort of turn it to and fro, and look at it from different angles, eventually you start to realize that if you were to deconstruct it piece by piece, there is part of it that would shape sort of into a recognizable, albeit sort of modified rune that you recognize as one of the few that your people have but don't have a definition for.
I wish to meet this investor.
I don't know who they are. I'm hoping that we can find out, and maybe that'll give us a little bit more insight, especially if they're right and they used that to bait them out of the city. But I don't know.
As if to get a better answer, Kunnskap Sokar turns to Gearna and Brori and says, I wish to meet this investor.
This French person might be able to tell us something about it if we can find them.
Hopefully.
And I'm gonna hail a waitress or something.
So looking around, there don't seem to be any, but there is a halfling woman seated on the bar top, and when you sort of put your hand up, she like nods over at you and hops off, and she starts sort of cutting her way through the crowd. As she gets closer, you can kind of make out the features. She's a little bit on the older side. Her like brown hair has wisps of gray in it, and she sort of looks over the bunch of you and goes, "Huh, it's a pretty weird ass group you got here."
Kunnskap is gathering the bones off the table.
Hope that's not a friend of mine.
I also would be quite displeased if it was a friend of yours.
May I have your boldest red wine for my friend over here?
You won't? All right, honey, I got you with some wine. We could do that. And for everyone else?
Hi, I am Tobi. Do you have any blood ale?
No, honey, we're not fancy enough for that. I can get you some ale though.
Tobi accepts this. Thank you.
Not a
Aksha
problem.
also accepts ale.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Whatever meal you would recommend.
I got just the thing for you. Do you also want some ale?
Just the meal.
And then she points over at Kunnskap. What about you, nightmare person?
Kunnskap's glowing red eyes just kind of stare at them for a few seconds and doesn't answer.
And another ale. Got it. I'll be back. And as she turns and walks out, oh, spooky. And Lena chuckles a little bit. That's Annie. She's nice. She's been really helpful.
Oh, yes?
Yeah. But unfortunately, I don't really have the coin to continue getting her help.
And how did she help you in a way that required coin?
Well, one of the first things that a lot of people learn when they get here is that Annie's good at knowing things. She hears a lot. And she's not afraid to be a little loose with that. But it's not free. And I only had so much. She's nice though. She's let me stay upstairs. She has a spare room that she lets me use. It's far better than sleeping out on the street.
Quite.
Aksha wants to talk to her. Yes, I want to talk to this Annie.
When she comes back. And
Yes.
Gearna pulls out like 3 gold pieces. I do not know how much talking costs, but perhaps this will help.
Lena sort of like her eyes go wide. That's a lot.
Perhaps since she will do a lot of talking.
Maybe. Are you sure you can afford that?
It is fine.
Thank you. I can't afford to pay you back.
It is not.
While this is happening, Kunnskap is trailing their hands over the table. Again, trying to see any markings of his people anyway. If this is an information center, there might be something, even not on this table, but around the tavern itself. It is a large city, so one would expect at least one of my people would have come through here.
Why don't you roll me an investigation and see what you can see?
Can I roll in perception instead?
Yes, you can roll me a perception instead.
Not that it helped much.
What do we got? Let's see. Oh, no, it did not. If it's here, you don't see it. You probably, if you took more time to walk about the place, if it was a little less busy, you might be able to, but at least from here, you don't notice anything.
You expect Kunnskap Soker to know cultural etiquette of this area, so Kunnskap just starts wandering around, checking under tables even if they are occupied.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna go get him.
Yeah, go for it.
Just gently sort of grab his shoulders and just kind of make to guide him back to the table.
By any chance, do you know if any of these missing persons were being looked into by the guild already, or?
I don't know. I don't think so. But I haven't gotten in to speak with the guilds yet.
And in the meantime, I want to explain to them that they cannot. People have personal bubble spaces that you have to stay out of.
They might have information that I must get into.
Then you have to ask. You cannot simply be in their space. It is seen as rude and or threatening.
And if you do, you hear from behind you as Annie returns with a big tray. You have to not get caught doing it. That's the trick, she says as she puts down the first flagon by you, Kunnskap, and then the next by Aksha, and then one by Tobi, and then 2 glasses of what seem like very lightly red colored, but still fairly light liquids. One by Gearna and one by Lena, and then a bowl by Brori with a little wooden cover on it and a little cutout for a spoon that has been stuck into the bowl.
Gonna open up the lid.
She puts her hand on top of your hand as you go to do that. She goes, "You should just give it a minute. It's got to sit in itself first."
All right.
Yeah, that's let's say, since it's a lot of you, let's just say 6 silver and we'll call it even.
I'll take out a gold piece and hand it to her.
No change.
That's fine.
She flicks it and catches it. Great. You know what? I'll throw in a little something extra. You're hungry, I appreciate that. Let me give you a tip. For the future, she says as she pockets the gold. Don't order food here. It's not very good.
I'm gonna look down at the bowl. Will I be sick after eating this?
No! You look like a pretty big fella with a pretty strong constitution. You'll be fine.
All right. I'll take your word for that.
Kunnskap is now looking about the place, looking for. Are there any in this very clean and upstanding establishment, as you explained, evidence of mice or rats?
Why don't you roll me another perception? Or I'll even let you do a nature, if you'd prefer. $17. Not bad. So looking around, it's a little hard to tell because of all the constant movement of boots and shoes, but you do manage to notice the telltale signs of some sort of rodents, probably both. But what Kunnskap plans to do with that information, we'll have to wait for next time. I think that's where we're going to wrap today for this episode of DTA. Thank you, everyone, for joining me for this, for joining us for this. I hope everyone's been enjoying so far. Yeah, and thanks to everyone for watching. We'll be back next week with another episode of Dice Trays Action. Have a good night.